Ukraine strikes back. Heavy battles, drone warfare, and the Russian loses mount. 61 clashes today, most in Donetsk. In Sumy, Ukrainian intel crushes 8 enemy companies. Shahed drones hit Lozova, civilians killed, infrastructure damaged. The 1st Mechanized Battalion stopped Russia drone cold. How did Ukraine stop the enemy near Sumy? What's happening with the Russian drone tactic? This is Ukraine Today. I'm Zaroslava Kolesnikova. Stay with me for the full story. Since the beginning of the day, Ukrainian defenders have faced 61 Russian attacks. The most intense battles are happening near Pokrovske Lyman. What's the situation at the front now, and how are troops holding the line? Find out more in our report.
More than 8 companies of Russian occupiers were defeated in the Sumy region. Fighters from the main intelligence directorate of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense did not allow the Russian army to advance in the Sumy direction. During the special operation, the intelligence officers managed to get behind enemy lines, clear out positions and secure them. Total losses among Russian troops exceeded 330 people. More than 500 others were wounded. Meanwhile, Ukrainian border guards are reporting an increase in attacks from Russia in the Sumy and Kharkiv directions. The enemy is actively using aviation to strike border areas, but does not risk deploying heavy armored vehicles.
The situation remains most tense in the Vovchansk direction and near the settlement of Stroivka in the Kharkiv region. The enemy does not stop trying to advance deeper into our territory, using infantry groups. So far, there have been no assaults using columns of armored vehicles along the borderline. It is possible that there is a shortage of equipment, or it is being reserved for other operations. Andriy Demchenko, spokesperson for the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine, speaking live on the United News Marathon.
At the same time, in the Kupiansk direction, Russian occupiers attempted to break through the Ukrainian defenses in the areas of the settlements of Stepnaya, Novosilovka and Zagrisovo. On the Lyman section of the front, the Russian army attacked the positions of the defense forces near Olhivka, Torske, Serebryanka, Hrihorivka and towards Shandriholov. And in the Pokrovsk direction, which is the most intense, Russian invaders made assault attempts near Popov Yar, Vladimirovka, Suvorovo, Mirolyubivka, Nikolaevka, Lisivka, Alexievka and Novopavlovka.
The most intense fighting, of course, is taking place, as we've discussed many times, around the Pokrovsk and Mirnograd agglomeration. Here, the enemy has concentrated a grouping of troops, about 110,000 strong. They have transferred reserves here, including in particular drone units, their best drone divisions. And so they are advancing, carrying out offensive actions to the northeast, with the goal of cutting off the logistical routes of the defenders and of Pokrovsk and Mirnograd. That's from the northeast. And from the southwest, sabotage and reconnaissance groups have been operating.
Russia's war against Ukraine is reaching a new level with the introduction of long and medium-range drones. Drones are becoming a key weapon on the front line. This is reported by The Economist. Ukrainian soldiers told the publication that the density of drone use has noticeably increased. According to analysts, the strike zone of these devices covers up to 15 kilometers on each side of the line of contact. Meanwhile, in the Kramatorsk direction, units of the 5th Separate Assault Kyiv Brigade used strike drones to locate and destroy several enemy shelters and dugouts. Additionally, thanks to the successful work of UAV pilots, Russian motorcycles and vehicles were set on fire and an enemy drone was caught in their nets.
The Russian Federation is sending virtually untrained personnel into so-called meat assaults. But a very telling report from Russian public channels states that, as it turns out, troops are being transferred to the Pokrovsk direction even after just a training course, without any combat coordination, which lasts no more than 12 days. And this indicates the acute shortage of time faced by the Russian occupiers in their attempt to improve their tactical position in the Pokrovsk direction, and accordingly, the complete disregard for the concept of the value of human life.
A massive night attack over 25 Russian Shahed drones struck Lozova, a city in the Kharkiv region. Civilians' infrastructure was hit, including the train depot and railway station. At least 2 people were killed and 1 woman died in hospital from stress. What damage was done and how Ukraine responds? Full story ahead.
Hello, colleagues. We are currently in the waiting hall of the Lozova railway station, and not long ago it was quite crowded here. People were meeting their loved ones and seeing off defenders, but now, as you can see, there is significant destruction here. The roof is shattered and the facades are damaged. And today, parents were here on the platform meeting their children who are returning from sports competitions in the Vinnytsia region. And in fact, work is currently underway here. They are clearing the area. And unfortunately, according to updated information, as a result of the attacks on the city of Lozova, a 71-year-old woman died. She suffered severe emotional shock and later passed away in the hospital. Another man who worked on the railway was also killed. In total, the number of injured has risen to 13 people, including 2 children and 7 railway infrastructure workers.
Ukraine was the calling card of our city. It hurts the soul. It truly hurts the soul. There was so much happening here on these platforms. When you spend about an hour and a half by the door with a child, of course, it's scary.
Currently, the city is working on restoring communications. Yes, the water supply has already been restored. They are also currently trying to restore electricity. Overall, about 80% of consumers have been left without electricity. And rescuers, medical workers, and energy specialists are working in an intensified mode. They continue to clear the area here. We will continue to monitor the situation. Olya?
Katya, thank you. We were joined by our colleague Katerina Kusmarova from Lozova, who provided details on the consequences of the Russian attack on the city.
The defense zone of Ukraine's 4th Mechanized Battalion has turned into a fiery trap for Russian drone and their operators. Swarm of enemy mopeds, motion and FPV drones try to storm Ukrainian position, but skilled drone pilots from the 4th Battalion strike them down with deadly precision. Stopping Russian attacks and destroying their mobility tools is key to holding the line, and these Ukrainian warriors are going too flawlessly. How they defend, fight and win. Watch the full story. From Ukraine's military intelligence unit Timur special group stopped a Russian assault in the Sumy region. During a secret mission, Ukrainian troops moved deep behind enemy lines, cleared Russian position and took control. As a result, Russian forces could not advance. Enemy supply lines for food and ammunition were cut off. Intercepted calls reveal Russian soldiers refused to fight in that zone. Direct hits from artillery and generate launchers, FPV drone strikes and close-range gunfights. Estimated Russian losses: 333 killed, over 550 wounded. for today on Ukraine Today. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts and share to it spread the truth. Support independent Ukrainian journalism. Links to sponsorship and donation are in the description. Stay strong, stay informed and stay with Ukraine.